Welcome to your 20 minutes hips focused slow flow. We'll begin today in a child's pose. So you might take that with the knees wide. Just gently sway from side to side. When you feel like you are landing in a comfortable position with the lower body, slowly begin to release the upper body. Just find a couple deep breaths to settle into your space. This will be a quick practice, but still wanting to be mindful that we're allowing ourselves to be present for this 20 minutes. One more full deep breath. Slowly come to a tabletop position. You might take the knees a little bit wider than your default and begin to find some hip circles. Might have a little bit of popping, cracking as you work through anything stuck in the hips today. And cycling through to the other side. Landing through center. Scoot the hands ahead, hair tuck through the toes. Press back to your downward facing dog. Gently pedal out the feet. Really lengthen through the spine. Find intention as you drive the tailbone towards the sky. Step the left foot through to the center top of the mat. Release the right knee to the mat. And on an inhale, arms extend. We're in a little lunge. Holding for that out breath. Gently release the hands to the mat. You might heel toe the foot ahead. And then send the toes to the sky, finding your way into a half split. You might stay here, stacking the hip above the knee. Maybe it feels good to adjust that foot and sit all the way back. Just find a variation that feels good for you. Release back to the low lunge. And as you send that energy into the hips, keep the right hand connected to the ground and slowly peel the left shoulder open. Sending that hand towards the sky, the gaze might follow. Release the hand back to the ground. Heel toe that foot ahead again if that's necessary. Send the toes back to the sky. Return to your half splits. Release the sole of the foot to the ground. Tuck the back toes. Slowly walk to the long edge of your mat, arriving in a wide leg forward fold. Just taking a minute to settle here. Slowly shift from side to side, finding that side lunge. And then come to rest on the left foot. Heel open the right, sending the toes towards the ceiling, landing in a Skandasana. If this is a lot on the knee, know that you can always release down by targeting the inner line here. So just taking that variation that feel supportive and nourishing to you. Finding your breath, knowing too that where you position your hands is totally optional. You've got options. You might keep them on either side of the knee. You might experiment with drawing them in. Find a little bit of additional stability, taking them through to heart center. So we release both soles of the feet back to the ground. Shift from side to side, pausing in that side lunge. Just finding a little bit of fluid movement here. Coming up through center, heels of the feet in. The heels will be in, toes out. Sink down to your goddess. Really gonna feel the hips waking up here. Creating length in the spine. We'll hold here for a count of 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Release up. Take the feet back, parallel to one another. And then slowly begin to shift to the opposite side, rolling onto the left heel, sending those toes towards the sky. We're in a Skandasana on the other side. You might find a little bit of movement here. If you're on your toe, just rolling forward and back. If you have the mobility to keep that sole of the foot rounded, amazing. You won't be rolling then. I'm not quite there yet. 2 more breaths here. Slowly rise. This time walking the hands towards what was the back of your mat. Release the back knee to the ground. As you inhale, arms extend up, low lunge. Pausing for one more full breath. And then slowly release the hand to the ground. Feel the shoulder open. Extending the right arm towards the ceiling. Release the hand back to the ground. Gently scoot that front foot forward. Or maybe it was perfect where it is. We're coming into a half splits. Find that breath. Feel that extension. One more breath here. Release back to your low lunge. And then come back to your half splits. Release the feet back to the mat, so both feet. Come back to your wide leg forward fold. Slowly begin to draw the feet in, setting up for our yogi squat. So finding that perfect spacing for you, and always knowing that if it feels good to have support in this shape, I invite you to do that. Maybe placing a cushion or blocks beneath the bum to support the body. We'll hold here for 5 breaths. If it feels good to find a little side to side movement, I invite you to do that. But if just holding in stillness, sending the breath to the hips is calling to you, that's perfect too. 2 more breaths. Slowly release the hands down. Make your way back in the direction of the top of your mat. Send the knees to the ground. Press back to a child's pose, beginning with the knees connected. And slowly finding that wide leg child's pose, keeping the big toes connected, taking the knees out wider and releasing forward. Mindfully sending the energy from the bum down towards the heels. Rise, take the knees back beneath the hips, and then rooting through the hands, press back, downward facing dog. And find a little bit of organic movement here. Maybe that's pedaling out the feet or dropping the hips from side to side. And extend the left leg back. This might be a big movement or it might be small. Draw the heel in towards the bum. Feel that opening of the hips. And then draw the left knee to land behind the left wrist. Setting up for a pigeon, half pigeon. You might have to scoot that extended right leg back a hair to find the perfect level of sensation. And know if this is a lot, if this posture isn't for you, you can always come to your back and take a figure four. Just coming at it from a different angle, targeting the same thing. But if you have taken your half pigeon, you might stay in it, keeping the body upright. Feels good to release the body forward. Settle into this. I invite you to do that. We'll be here for about 30 seconds. If you've noticed that you release the top of your foot to the mat, as I did, and you're looking for a little bit more depth in this, looking to keep it a little bit more active, you might take the extended right toes and tuck those toes. Just that gentle adjustment will drive that right hip forward just a hair. Finding a gentle deepening of this posture. Press into the hands, tuck those back right toes if you haven't already, and step back to your downward facing dog. And finding some movement that feels good, maybe pedaling out the feet. And sending the right leg back this time, drawing the heel towards the bum, peeling that hip open. And then taking the right knee in the direction of the right wrist and releasing to your half pigeon on the right. And maybe you do move into a reclined variation of this. Maybe it feels good to start upright. Just feel how that sensation differs from the sensation of the body released forward. Remembering to breathe. Two more full breath here. So I take the hands to the mat, tuck the toes, press back, downward facing dog. Release the knees to the mat. come into your wide leg child's pose. We're not here for very long. We're going to be moving into frog if it's available. I'm just finding a little bit of gentle opening before we head that direction. You might notice how the hips are feeling in this wide leg child's pose in comparison to the first one of our practice. Just a few minutes earlier, but in my body, there's already a little bit more space, a little less stickiness. Now staying here, if this is enough for you, but if it is available and you're looking for a little more, we'll find our way into our frog pose. So it might feel good to come the length of the mat. And if you need support beneath the knees, know that you can roll the corners of the mat in, or take a towel or a blanket beneath the knees. And you'll probably have to experiment a little bit to find that really perfect level of sensation. But taking the knees wide, looking for that 90-degree angle in the foot and the shin, and then gently walking the body forward. This isn't a big movement. And once the upper body has landed, you might gently, this is a very small motion, gently shift those hips down and back. And just notice how that deepens the sensation of this shape. We'll hold here in our frog posture for about 30 seconds. This can be quite a challenging shape and a really good opportunity to be mindful about the impact of intentionally sending your breath to the areas that can really use it. Quiet in your mind, focusing on where that breath is headed. One more full deep breath here. Slowly release from this. You might draw the hands beneath the shoulders and then very gently taking one knee in and then the other. We'll finish up on our back. So coming to your back, allow the feet to rest about mat distance apart. And then very gently find some side to side windshield wiper movement. The hands might rest passively by the body. Maybe it feels good to open up the heart center, drawing them to a cactus shape. Then keeping the feet where they are, really draw the knees to connect at center. If this isn't enough sensation, just widen the stance of your feet, really wanting to keep that connection of the knees. So looking for that internal rotation as we come to land in a pyramid legs. Might be nice to, I always like to take my hands onto the hip and just physically feel that difference. So from them being externally rotated to that internal rotation. Landing in this shape, keeping the feet active, sending the energy evenly into the earth through the feet. We'll hold here for 3 more breaths. Slowly release the connection of the knees. Draw the knees in through center. Gently rock from side to side. And then send the soles of the feet towards the ceiling. Find a happy baby. Hands might come to the outside of the feet, the inside. Maybe you take the peace fingers to connect with the big toes. And always know that if the feet seem really far away, the back of the thighs are right there. Just find that connection. Draw the knees towards the chest. Gently rock and roll your way up your spine. Come to an easy seat. We'll take one deep cleansing breath to close this quick 20-minute hips focused slow flow. Inhaling through the nose. And audible sigh out the mouth. Thanks for joining me. Hope your hips are happy.